Hello Ratbags, it's Jade Plays Games. Welcome to a special access show. Today I am asking the question, survival games, are they dead? What to expect in the future? If you believed everyone, survival games are dying and no one wants to play them anymore. That despite the fact that Ark and Conan Exiles has set records for the amount of numbers sold in the last 18 months. And not just them two, there are still a bunch of survival games that are going to be coming out in the next couple of years that we're still really hyped for or are already on their way to being fully released, including this year alone. Rust, The Forest have both come out with early access. So survival games are here to stay. They're going to be stronger than ever. What we are looking for though is the definition. What we're looking for is the ultimate. What we're really truly looking for is the best and most realistic survival games to be coming out in the next 18 months. Some of these games you'll have heard of, some of these games hopefully you won't have. I'll be putting them on your radar. Some of them cross over a little bit, not just survival, maybe in other forms, other ways, but to me at their core they are still survival games. So I'm going to take you through the most exciting ones I've heard about, the most exciting ones I've seen, and hopefully we'll follow their development over the next 18 months. First up is Genesis Alpha 1, coming to Xbox One, PS4 and Steam. This game is very different. It is a single player survival game, but it's got roguelike elements, base building as well. You are basically building your ship, kitting it out to go and explore other lands. When you explore these other lands, you're farming for resources so that you can make your own clones. There is clone splicing in this game. You've then got to protect your ship and your resources from the various infestations of alien-like creatures that will either attack your ship or attack planets that you are exploring. It sounds a bit mad, it sounds like a bit of a huge mix of different things, but it's definitely piqued my interest. I had never knew about this game at all until I started doing a bit of research for this video. Some games are always just on my radar and I've always been following them, but this was almost brand new. It's made by Team 17, I do believe the team behind Worms. I could be wrong on that, but I'm sure they probably did make that, and it's coming out in September. Genesis Alpha 1 could be really interesting. I'm really excited for Dead Matter. It's hit its stretch goals on Kickstarter and it's got a plan in place. The development team have been really vocal on social media and they've been doing update vlogs on their YouTube channel. It's always a bit difficult with Kickstarter programs. Lots of them fail, lots of them tend to be just money cash grabs, and even games that make it onto Steam on early access can be huge cash grabs, which is a whole different video entirely.
From hordes of flesh-crazed undead to AI trying to make their way through the world, and of course other players that are doing what they can to survive.
It's got upgradable vehicles, it's got upgradable weapons, bases, traps, all the usual things you might expect in an open world zombie apocalyptic game, but it looks great, it looks fantastic, and they're really trying to make the AI a bit different with the zombies and not just be this buggy mess that just follows you around. I really like that aspect. I think there's so many of these games out there, it's the reason why it gets such a bad rap, but the fact is we still haven't had that clear winner, that amazing survival game. Not yet anyway, not come to all systems, maybe some fantastic ones on PC, but nothing come to console. At the moment of course this is only going to be planned for Steam, but if they do what they did with the Kickstarter program and make the kind of money they made there, as soon as it launches on Steam, I see no problem in getting this on console in the next couple of years. Dead Matter, really good looking, can't wait to see more from this game when it comes. Now, a bit more different than just a typical open world survival game you come to expect, Fade to Silence is scheduled for Xbox One and PS4 at some point this year. It's available on Steam Early Access right now with mixed reviews. In the game you are out there to get resources, you've got your followers that can help you, you've also got a sled full of dogs that will take you through the wintered lands, and the idea is that you're getting vital resources for your camp. You've got different survivors you can choose from that have different traits, and it looks pretty good. It looks really interesting, not just the typical open world. Like I said, it's got something a bit more about it. It's made or published at least by Nordic, THQ Nordic, and they guys are pretty good at getting games onto consoles. So hopefully when this gets released it will be in a better state than it currently is, because on Steam at the moment it's very bug ridden. There's not a lot to it other than just the bare bones of that crafting and that survival aspect.
Destroyed. The only thing left to give? Your life.
Fate of Silence is scheduled for 2018 full release. I'll let you guys know when it comes to Xbox One and the PS4. And another game that I haven't forgotten about, I told you guys in my games to expect at the beginning of the year, The Forest is finally coming to console. It is still scheduled for this year. We still have no definite words, and it is a bit worryingly the devs haven't mentioned anything about it coming to the PS4 in over 4.5 months now. It's overdue some information, whether or not it's definitely going to make it, but as I'm led to believe, it should still be coming before the end of 2018. Of course, The Forest is already out on Steam, out of early access. They've been receiving content updates for it still to improve performance, because as of, you know, the usual case nowadays, games are never out of early access. They seem to just carry on and on past their official release date, even though they have technically been officially released. The Forest, by all accounts, is really good. I've had it sitting on my PC for months and months. It's about time I got into it and showed you guys some of the gameplay. I'm sure you've seen it from other YouTubers. You can play multiplayer with your friends, but it's not an open world game. It's more a game that they can come and help you do stuff. So, The Forest, please come to PS4 soon, and hopefully maybe come to Xbox as well. I'll let you guys know any more information about it coming to console. I'll be the first person to tell you. Okay, you're sick of zombies, you're sick of mutants, you're sick of just these monsters appearing everywhere. So what about a survival game that maybe goes a little bit more basic? What about a survival game that just pits you against a really harsh environment? That's the idea behind Green Hell. It is a survival game, but with really realistic expectations and gameplay core mechanics, where you'll be looking at individual parts of your body to check over, make sure you haven't been cut or got an injury. And when you do get cut or an injury, you've got to rescue it. You've got to heal yourself as quickly as you can. I really like the gameplay here. It's very, you know, early stages. It looks a bit clunky. But in terms of having a journal, you need things to check, how to craft. It's not just simply a case of magically pressing a button and it does it. You have to lay certain things out on a slate, and that's how you craft your weapons and your items. It also comes in the form of the wristwatch, which I thought was pretty cool. In fact, I'm looking at the UI now, watching this trailer back, and wishing they probably just got rid of it and just made it completely looking at your watch was how you could tell how your statuses were. That would really lend itself more to this experience of probably being in a jungle, you've crash landed for whatever reason, and you've just got to build yourself. Now, I'm not 100% sure they're not going to add some sort of other dangerous creatures to it, like zombies or anything like that. I really hope not, though. From what I've seen, it looks like it's more just basic survival against the elements, against the odds, and maybe some normal creatures that you would normally find in the world, and not just bloodthirsty mutants. Really interesting games, out on Steam at the moment, or I do believe it's about to come out on Steam. It's been kick-started, it's had a lot of retention over the last few months, so I'm hopeful we'll start to see more information about what to expect with the Green Hell. I definitely want to give this a try, so expect to see some of this on my channel as soon as it releases fully on Steam Early Access. Now, I talked about zombies and, you know, mutants being a little bit cliched, but if they can be done well, if they're presented in a way that's fresh, or if it just works and they're not just janky AI bug-ridden horrible creatures, carcasses, then definitely games can benefit from that, and we can really get something special.
You will need to evolve your character and playstyle to survive. Before the outbreak, Eden Nadir was a thriving community, populated by families and businesses, alive with commerce and industry. It now lies in ruins, but the people of Eden Nadir have not given up hope. Jaws of Extinction has an expansive and immersive story. In single player, you'll be working alone to unravel the mysteries of the island. In multiplayer, players must work together to progress the main quest.
Looking forward to this one, giving it a try. Again, 7 Days to Die is probably the best template at the moment for games like these, because it's one of the earliest examples. It's been in early access so long that other games developers have been able to come, get their idea, refine what they saw in that game and other games, and get it out a lot quicker than them devs. So I really applaud game devs that manage to do this, that can get their ideas realised and put out in some way, shape or content on Steam Early Access, and hopefully they'll have a bit of a shorter gestation than 7 Days to Die, which is coming up to its 5th year in alpha. 5 years! At that point you'd think the game would be dead and buried, but 7 Days to Die is still massively popular, and that's why zombie games and survival games still are popular, because we still haven't had that definitive version, and that's what I spoke about at the beginning. Where is the definitive survival game? What does it really encompass? How can they make the perfect survival game? Does it have to have zombies? Does Does it have to have creatures? Jaws of Extinction is going to convince us that zombies matter, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try when it comes to early access. Now, this isn't a game that necessarily needs know any information about. We all know that No Man's Sky had its problems when it launched on the PS4, but it is coming to Xbox One in this month. It's coming at the end of July, so people on Xbox will finally get a chance to make up their own mind whether or not this was one of the greatest missed launches in the world ever, whether it was downright lies from the development team, or whether it was just a bit underrated. The game's had significant updates since then, and it's promising full, official, proper multiplayer when it launches on the Xbox, and its update on the PlayStation 4 next. You're going to be able to see proper multiplayer action. You'll be able to see other players go and do things with them, base build with them, gather resources, explore, and all the other stuff. Now, if No Man's Sky is still too sour for you, and you've still got just too many bad memories of it, or you're just not interested in Hyperbole, what about this one? I swear to God, I think they're actually taking a swipe at No Man's Sky's trailer. They've got similar music, and they talk about their game being not procedurally generated but handcrafted. This game is called Outer Wilds, and it's coming to Xbox One. Magically, I got gifted a beta key for it via Xbox Live. I just got a message saying I've been granted access because I must have watched a live stream over E3 via Mixer. So I'm looking forward to this. It's definitely got a unique art style to it. Some might say it is a little bit similar to No Man's Sky, but it definitely promises a definitive product, not necessarily something that you can be wondering what it is, has it got a real ending to it or not. The premise is you've got planets you can explore, and these are different planets, not procedurally generated, but you can take off and land on these planets, and you can fly through space, much like the No Man's Sky genre. It's looking a little bit more interesting though, and I just like the art style. I think it's really cool, it's really clever, looking a bit more fun as well. It's not maybe taking itself too seriously. It's got unique features in it, lighting, it's going to be a bit of puzzle elements to it, and it is still a survival game, I do believe, at its heart. We'll have to see though when it actually comes out. I'm hoping at some point this year. Not much has been told about it, and I couldn't find much information about it whatsoever. It was only getting that message on Xbox Live that it even appeared on my radar, but Outer Wilds is definitely something I want to keep track of. So, remember when I said there were games that have fallen off the radar? Well, take a look at Wilds. Do you remember this one? It was announced on the PlayStation 4 over 3 years ago. Since then, we've not had much information. In fact, a lot of people are assuming it's dead and buried. It has been created by the same guy that made Beyond Good and Evil. Now he's working on a direct sequel. Many people assume this game was dead and buried, but that is not the case. Developers are still working on it. While information is still a little bit hard to come by, and there has been nothing new in over 2 years technically, the game is still being worked on supposedly by a core team of people. It's interesting. This one's got the typical survival elements that you'd come to expect, with some ones that you maybe didn't. You can basically transfer yourself to a creature, and you can play as a multitude of different creatures, like wolves, maybe like boars, and that made the game very interesting. Also, the cinematics from it look pretty decent, and the art style again has got something very unique which I really liked. So I really hope that this one gets back on the radar. I really hope that the creator of Beyond Good and Evil doesn't necessarily just go back to that and forgets about this game completely, and hopefully someone else is taking the reins and making this game happen. I'll let you know if we get any more information. And saving the best to last, Scum is coming to early access this month supposedly. It's been talked about for quite a while. If you're talking about a real hardcore experience, something that really takes a lot of influence from games like dayz, then Scum may be the one for you. A cross between a survival game, an Arma freestyle game, and a reality TV contest game. That's what Scum is. It's got all the hardcore elements. Individual items of clothing will become wet and heavy, and you have to manage and deal with that. Different gun parts that you're going to have to take care of. The most interesting facet of this game is the televised audience aspect. When you start off as a survivor, you will be taking part in different game modes. Now these game modes may change, but you'll be on servers full of up to 64 different players. That's what they've sort of spoken about. Probably the best example of a games developer really connecting with people. They are absolutely hilarious. If if you want to have some fun watching some games devs really enjoy their actual gameplay and talking about their game they're creating, go and watch their development diaries on their YouTube channel. Honestly, it's really funny. They're really good guys. So I'm hoping to see this succeed. It's, I think, made using the Unreal Engine 4. It definitely looks interesting. There's all different type of, you know, things to take into account in terms of your perks and your skills. And of course, it does have zombies. By the way, the zombies are former players. Former players, when you die, you become a zombie in the game. Where does the televised bit come in? It's almost like a game show, a little bit like the Running Man, where you're televised and people can basically give you reputation or make you famous. The more famous and reputation you get, the better chances you will be able to get of being revived in the game. If you've got a high enough score, you can be revived. Now, all of this is subject to change, but the idea being that when you've got renown, when you've got reputation, when you're famous, you will have better perks and you'll be considered a higher target, and so that will make you more huntable, but it also mean that you'll get better resources sometimes, or possibly you'll have better outcomes. So the idea is to make yourself as famous as you can in the game, rather than necessarily always just survive. Of course, you need to survive as well. You don't want to die and miss out on losing some of the end game loot, but the instances of the servers seem really interesting and different. Not fully formed yet. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be a persistent world or whether or not they will be just sessions. They talked about the game modes lasting from anything from 20 minutes to hundreds of hours, but then said there would be servers with 64 people. So it's a little bit up in the air exactly what Scum is really going to be played like. But in terms of the gun and core gameplay, they're saying it's very entry level. You will be able to pick up and play it. You're not going to have to be some Armour mod veteran to enjoy the game. And I think now with everyone enjoying Battlegrounds, PlayerUnknown's, people will be used to this type of gameplay where it's a little bit slow, a little bit more methodical, and you really got to take your time aiming. All the other key aspects are there: eating, drinking, like I said, making sure you stay dry. You've got diseases and you've got sicknesses that you've got to be careful of as well, and it's just really, really interesting. I can't wait to get hands on this game. Coming in August. It's the last pick of the bunch, I should say, out of all the survival games that are on my radar. Of course, there's many more out there, and if there's some I've missed, go ahead and pop them in the comment section down below. I'm looking for games that I might not have heard about, so don't tell me, you know, Fallout 76. I've spoken at length about that game. I can't wait for that. So of course that's going to be in here. And dayz is also getting a revamp, obviously with a brand new update and finally coming to console. So I'll definitely be covering that. But tell me some of the survival games that I might not have heard about, even if they're Kickstarter ones. Let me know in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to do some research into them. Also, tell me what one out of all these I've shown today are you most hyped for? What one are you desperately wanting to see come to your platform? So like, comment, subscribe, make sure you've got notifications turned on, and I'll see you ratbags for another Access show very soon.